Hi, Capricorn and people who related to the idea of dawn. I'm Philippa, and here is your Celtic cross that we're just going to dive into. I've laid it already, and there's some extra cards. Normally it's a 10-card spread, and here we've got 15, but at least half of those are majors, and they're really interesting ones as well. So what we're aiming to do here is get a snapshot of what's going on for you and then try and unlock it a little and see if there's a way that we can advise you which parts of the spread to concentrate on, or some advice on how to unlock things. It's a very passionate time, that's all I'm going to say. You in the interior, what we see here is the Ace of Wands, a very passionate, excitable, dynamic, creative new start. You're feeling very excited about something. Where are the red glasses? Excuse me, just have to get the red glasses to look at things. So you're feeling very excited about something, and when I look at the cards around it, it's almost like that is the problem. There's so much passion, you're a bit worried about it. You can see his thumb giving me the thumbs up. What else can I see? That's it, really. It's just a very sort of excitable, all the yods and the leaves falling off this. It's something that's been given to you, an idea, a passion that's come out of nowhere that has really got you lit up, and it's like a sort of creative, energetic, sexual even new start. But how that's making you act, this is fascinating, is with the Five of Cups. You won't turn around and look at these two cups. What's that about? Is it that you have recently split with someone and you've now met someone else and you're still thinking about your previous relationship? Is it that there's still some things to attend to in your current work and you don't want to start on a new project? What I'm looking at here is that this figure is very faceless, no facial expressions at all. And I'm also noticing this building, which we've also got a building in the back of here, and we want our Five of Cups to turn around, look at the two cups that are still standing, and then get over the bridge to get to this new place. But he just won't do it, and so something shakes you about all this passion, and mainly people quite like to feel all that passion, so it's interesting. But I can see how it's unfolding with these cards. In the basis of the reading, the Nine of Swords, so obvious what's going on in this picture. Someone who now looks like an old man to me. That's interesting. The grey of the hair, the yellow of the pillow. Does that mean anything to anyone? The yellow pillow, the grey hair. Usually I see this character as a woman. There's a sort of fight going on in the red bit of like a jewel, or somebody has fallen below the bed. And the astrological symbols, that's really interesting on my other cards, they're sort of better drawn. And here you see all those little glyphs, like we've got the circle with the dot inside it. These, on another set of cards I've got, are really, really well drawn and defined. And I find it interesting that on these ones, they're all a little bit skew-if, like one of those kind of sleepless nights where you're completely getting everything wrong, you're perceiving everything wrong. The symbolism of the astrological glyphs to me means that there are all these, if you believe in astrology, there's all these changing planets and conditions in the sky that are tugging and pulling on us. And even if that's a far reach for you, we know that the moon does literally pull the water, and we know that literally there are more incidents in accident and emergency, and there are more problems in with the police on full moon. So we know that we are affected, and I think in the coming years it will become completely obvious why we are, and we'll all return to understanding astrology. But here the astrological symbols are all skew-if, which to me seems to mean that you're not quite reading this sort of transits, and you're not taking things in the right way. They're becoming overblown in your mind. In the recent past, the devil. Now, this could be that you have just met somebody that you've got a very passionate feelings about, and that's throwing you because you're in another relationship, or you didn't expect that, or it's, you know, somebody at work and you don't feel that that's appropriate, or maybe it's been a while since you felt this much passion and therefore it's unsettling. And here I'm looking, even the devil looks very unsettled. In fact, the Adam and Eve characters, the ones that are bound to each other, look rather relaxed. But it's interesting, they look relaxed, but he looks absolutely worried as all hell. His torch is hanging down, and he feels a bit deflated to me. So that's the recent past. In your outcome, potential outcome, we have the Hierophant. That's the exact opposite energy. It's the energy of morality, the church, squashing those kind of wild urges, giving them structure. I'm not saying I totally don't like the Hierophant, because he can mean marriage, he can mean a way of explaining the amazing spiritual realities in a kind of palatable way, because there's these two characters at the below him who he's teaching. And is it a he or a she? She changes sometimes. Yeah, it looks like a he to me today. I always like those fallopian tubes on the top of his pillars. So, and I can see 3 little antennae hanging out at the top of his crown, or his special bishop's headpiece. Bluebells and roses. So it could be that you squash these feelings. It could be you return to an existing partner that you were about to betray. If this is about a creative project, it could be actually that you manage to bring it into some sort of order that makes sense morally in your world. Morally, creative project. What am I trying to say? That you harness all that creativity and then make it make sense in a way that you can make money out of, or commit your time to in some way that is good for you. Coming up in the near future, more worry, but also the Artist card, delving deep into your subconscious. I'm looking at those little stones on the edge of the water as the crayfish, next to the crayfish, these golden nuggets next to the crayfish, he's coming out of the water. And the fox looks particularly irritable, and the sharp spikes of the moon. You know, more worry, more assimilation, more groping around in the dark. So what I'm looking at down here when I look at this is we've got the darkness of the night underpinning the whole reading, the root of everything, which is you at night worrying. In the recent past, we've got the dark background of the devil, the idea of being underground, submerged, not with the sun, and now coming up the moon, not with the sun. Everything's slightly distorted. You have a strange attitude to this passion, or it takes you deep within yourself into a place that feels distorted and uncomfortable, and kind of we need to shed a little light on. But in your attitude, the second ace, I love this. So regardless, this is a healthy thing for you, and you are receiving this kind of physical new start. It could be the birth of a child, it could be new health, you know, that I've seen happen in friends, and I know the feeling in my own life when you are awoken and you feel very sort of turned on by someone or something. It does make you feel very good in your body, and that tells you something. it tells you that there's part of this experience, even if not all of it's palatable to you, part of this experience needs to be assimilated, because this is something that your body loves, that changes your hormones, that if it's not physical and sexual, that makes you feel alive to get up in the morning to start working on this project. So the question is, why? What is it about it that there could be a very good reason that you could be betraying someone, or it could just be taking all your attention away from your kids or something, if it's a creative project. But what we have to get to is, how can we keep that fresh, healed feeling in your body continuing? Because, and I look at this again, where did I see those bluebells? Oh yes, the Hierophant. Do you remember I said I saw these bluebells on his jacket of one of the acolytes? We've got the same sort of flower growing in this Ace of Pentacles, and it's going to get you to a mountain through a path. So as the guy that's being taught by the Hierophant has got it on his jacket, it tells me that this is actually an important journey for you to go on. It's teaching you something. You are learning something through this experience, and it's bringing more health into your being, and it could lead to something physically actual, real, new. It is in its early stages. And in your environment, the sun, the opposite to all that darkness. Sorry, cover him up. So you're there, cowering in this light of this sun, and it's sending you scuttling into sort of dark subconscious realms. But whatever you're around is very enervating. I don't know why I've just got this image, but in the Marigold Hotel, when Maggie Smith's character arrives in India, and everything's so sort of bright and wonderful and chaotic and stimulating and sort of amazing, but there's a sense in which she resists, because it's awakening so much of her, and it's pushing her into such a different part of her being, that she has to sort of put the brakes on, because how does her ego, how does her persona react in such a stimulating, beautiful, generous, effusive, chaotic environment? So something is riding away in your environment, whether it's work or home, riding away from past hurts, wanting to manifest. The sun looks so knowing in this one, sort of wry little expression. Not giving up. I'm not going to move. This is where this energy has to be your next step. So is this is it that your partner has suddenly become very alive and is demanding more of your sexual or emotional attention? Is it that there's a new boss or a new project at work that is flooding new manifesting kind of creative, positive vibes in, and that you're still wanting something, still mourning something that has not worked out? There is that element of mourning. I have to be honest with the Five of Cups. It's disappointment, some past disappointment. But then in your hopes and fears, we have 5 cards. That was a lot, but I took them because they seem to tell such an interesting story. So despite you being shut down, there is a lot of hope here, as well as a little bit of fear. You fear losing control, giving your power away, that maybe you're signing a contract or getting involved in something that's not healthy. But what you wish for is the full term of this kind of new creative project, or to be resplendent in this sexual loving attention. I say loving because we've got the Ace of Cups, and it does feel like something that you've fallen in love with. So that's our 3rd ace. This is not to be ignored. There's an amazing new start. So what you hope and fear for with the Empress, the King of Swords, the Ace of Cups, the World, it's amazing, and the 7 of Swords, is you want, these two came out slightly separately, so this here, you want to be able to be resplendent and receiving and generating within this kind of creative, lovely new feeling and environment that you're in, but you want to be able to keep your head about you at the same time. You don't want to become fluffy and silly. You need to have some control over it, because those two came out together. And make sure that you're still going to make money and keep the ship on the road, whatever it is, the family, the work, your social system. And then what you also hope and fear is, you love that you're feeling new love, but you fear that because there's so much new, fresh energy. And you hope that this feeling of being in the center of your wreath of the world, I can't show you her body, will continue. But it also frightens you, because what if you're being sold something that's not right? What if somebody's whispering sweet nothings that mean nothing? Or what if this is just a stage? Because there's a stage line on this card just under his feet. Is this just some sort of crazy passionate phase and it's all going to fade? See what jumps out at me about these cards. The bells on, and more little flowers on the Ace of Cups, the little red flowers, this sense of flowering. On the 21 of the World, big doe-eyed lion. So maybe there's a Leo that is important in this whole thing for you. The character of the World, she almost looked like she was winking at me, but no, she's not now. She's got her head averted from us. A big grin on the Seven of Swords' face. He looks really pleased with himself. You know, is there an element of worrying that you're going to be ashamed at the end of this? People are going to sneakily laugh at you. And for such a resplendent character as the Empress, she looks a little sad and worried. She's saying, just don't make any mistakes now. Yeah, all their eyes are really standing out to me, like the inner experience of this. And then where it's all leading, initially we just had this, which is you taming all of those terrible fears, all that nighttime energy, and it's amazing. The female alchemist in the strength. So taming that kind of the wild urges, kind of getting to grips with them, and again a lion, when I was seeing the lion so clearly in that world card that puts you in the center of your world and ends a sort of phase. And that's wonderful. She dares to put her hand in his mouth. But I then sort of saw another one sneakily jumping out, and I regretted picking it, or it was sort of starting to come out of the pack, because it was the Five of Pentacles. So if we hadn't had that, we would say that you've completely conquered all of these feelings, and that you're walking into this new world with your protections around you, with an ability to understand all this passion. But there's still a feeling that you're not quite in the right place, that you're worried that your community will not support you, and you won't be supported in financially either. That there's, you know, he's got a little bell around his neck, and we saw the bells on the Ace of Cups. I wonder whether, you know, what you love, you feel somehow takes you away from your community, distances you from people, won't support you in some way, even though you can grapple with some of the sort of more passionate elements of it. So let's pull some extra cards. What I like to do, and get my book set up, is pull something from the Enchanted Forest Tarot and something from the Shining Tribe Tarot, and that will hopefully sort of unlock my mind to give you a little bit more advice by looking at part of the reading that we've already had will be highlighted, and sometimes there'll be some advice. So let's make sure we've got all of the cards. Let's get breath in there. That's it. So the Enchanted Tarot first, the Enchanted Forest Tarot. Oh, that jumped right out. So we've got the Five of Spells, which is the Five of Wands, and the Devil again. I've seen both of these recently. So we will look at the book, but here you can see some young wizards sort of attempting to turn each other into frogs, having real fun, jumping in and competing. It's the fun five. It's Mars in its most positive aspect, drive that gets us to compete and hone our skills. But then we've got the liar. You're still worried. You're still worried that somehow you're being told something that's not true. Let's have a look. 5 of wands, 5 of, what is it, spells. 5 of spells, the other glasses. Okay, meaning at a glance, friendly competition, striving for excellence, healthy rivalry, learning from mistakes. So learning from mistakes is important, so remember that. A few students from the Woodland Wizarding School have come to work on their transformation spells and toady hilarity ensues. Though to us onlookers the scene looks humorous, the Toad Boys are deadly serious about their mock battle. They're learning their craft, exercising their powers, refining their skills through comradely competition. Each wants to be the best, and that spurs the other on to greater glory. These young wizards do know what they're doing in terms of the spell itself, but magic is still an effort at this stage. With practice, they will soon move on to more challenging sorcery. Makers of magic know that they can reach new levels of achievement with a little healthy competition. The trick is to keep it light and friendly, not to devolve into a fight, which can be especially dangerous when wizardry is involved. Find ways to engage with your fellow wizards in playful encouragement. So this brings me to the 5 of Cups, which is your attitude. It's a comment on that, I think. And it's saying you're not abandoning people just because you see something new. This could be a progression of your work, a vision that you have for yourself that slightly is at odds with your community. And so, or maybe an identity that your friends or your family aren't used to with you, and you're worried that they're not going to like it. And this card is saying friendly competition is good for everyone. So you're actually helping everybody by becoming the best version of yourself. That's what I'm getting from this. But then we look at the 15, the devil, another devil. We're being asked to look at what you have just encountered in the recent past that's upset you so much. The liar. The liar beckons you, at a glance it says bondage to what's harmful, separation of mind and heart, soullessness. Okay, so we can't have that. Oh, I've got these. Oh, they'll do. Manipulation, addictions. He's got a little tail on his belt. What's that to do with? The liar beckons and coaxes you closer. His voice is mellifluous, throaty, sensual. The voice you've always wanted to hear, telling you what you've always wanted to believe. So this is what you worry about. This is your 7 of Swords. He promises delicious secrets, thinks he's never shared with another living soul, but you're special. You're the one he's waited for, the worthy one, his chosen one. Come closer. It's safe to leave the path. Truly, it's only a little way off the path, a mere nothing. You can always run back if you wish. He won't stop you. There's nothing to fear. His staff is just a walking stick, not a serpent. There's no rat peering from his hair. Your own eyes deceive you. Come closer. The liar represents danger, bondage, addiction, a separation of spirit and soul for the human being dealings. He's a mesmerist who can easily lull victims into believing his lies if they're not on their guard. He knows everything you want, and if one approach doesn't work, he'll quickly try another. You must choose to escape, for he will never let you go of your own accord. The liar's bird, a magpie, is bringing him some gold. There are magpies and magpie feathers in other cards. Can you find them? I've just done a reading for one of the signs that also had magpie on it, so maybe that's a sign that you should look at that as well. I can't remember who it's for or what it said, but what does it say? There are magpie, because it says look for them in other cards, so it makes me think look in other readings. So, on the one hand, you're being encouraged to jump in, transform, go with this new energy. On the other, there is a note of caution not to become too carried away, not to believe that your wildest fantasies are true. There's got to be a note of realism, and we don't want... Look, if you've been awakened and by suddenly really fancying someone, but you're in a marriage, say, or in a partnership, you're with someone, or if you aren't with someone but you're awakened into sort of feeling very sexual or excited, it might be that that particular person isn't right for you, but that the energy is. If your instincts say that they're not right for you, then in all likelihood they aren't. But maybe the feeling is the important thing that you need to follow. But we don't want you off your path. And magpies, let's see. So this is the Shining Path Tarot, and we're just going to take one card from this, thank you. And this is by Rachel Pollock, Death and Rebirth. Okay, so it's saying you've got to let go and go into this new experience. It really does want you to go with it. It does not want you to stay stuck looking at those three cards. Number 13. Here we go. Death. Because death is about rebirth. I'm not going to read all of this. Death does not indicate someone dying. Instead, it signifies the death of old patterns, of old worn-out behaviour. It implies radical change and trust in the future. It may still be difficult to experience, for often we resist such change and the release it requires. There are situations where this card can indeed refer to physical death, but they tend to be if someone's already ill or someone around you has already died. This card reminds you of death's impact, and death's impact is rebirth, really. It's a 2-page thing, so I'm just looking through. I don't want to read you any of this because I think it's going to get too complicated. I just saw something about the radiant suns in her hands. I need one more little card just to clarify. Let's get some advice. Did we bring the little... maybe not. We'll do another type of Waite. Just to clarify. Some advice, please. Some advice so that you don't get taken up with addictions or illusions in this passion. Oh, lovely. We've got the Ace of Pentacles again. And the Five of Swords. All this positivity. And then a note of caution. So the advice here is that when we've had to fight for something but we don't feel that happy with the victory, I need something else. What are you saying? So if it's you that's won, you feel that everybody's cross with you and it doesn't feel great. If it's someone else, it feels horrible. What do you mean, the Ace of Swords, but with a battle that's not very good? The Ace of Pentacles. Double confirmation for a new start, which we get with the Death. And then the Minor to the Devil, another obsessional card. With the Ten of Wands. And we would say with this, put down your burdens. Maybe what it means is put down the ideas, these fanciful ideas of... That's it. Stop fighting with these ideas that you've picked up through the Hierophant type energy, that passion has to be bad. There is a new start. Lay those burdens down. Don't be obsessive. Stop telling stories. You've got your new start. We can see that with Death and the two lots of the Ace of Pentacles now. Please stop telling stories. Put down this idea of the devil. Yeah. When I said that, this is what we get as a comment. Yes, you are being offered a genuine Grail Cup. Another Ace of Cups. So we've got 2 Ace of Pentacles, 2 Ace of Cups, and 1 Ace of Wands. And then, if we didn't know, and the Death, and as if we didn't know that there was a new start, now we've got the Fool. What it's saying is, kind of put aside all those ideas. You're slightly mesmerizing yourself and worrying. This is what it's about. You're making up stories. There is nothing wrong with feeling passionate. Put down this idea of fighting the idea of the misinformation of the devil or that you shouldn't feel passionate. Just go for the new start. It's what you've always loved and wanted, and it's going to be an amazing, fresh experience. Quite jealous. I'm glad that your reading ended up so beautifully, and see you again.